Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor. I've got a lot of interesting pieces of either news or just interesting pieces of information that I wanted to cover this morning. The first here is, this is from at XRP Bart. He very active community member. You need to follow at XRP Bart. There's a few other, this is kind of a string of people who he's referring to, and he copied me on this, so I thought I'd kind of let you know about all the people in the string. He was talking about the future looking bright. This is a BitTrue. I think I talked about BitTrue yesterday. It's an exchange that was adding some XRP pairs, but then this is news right here that he sent. And when I click, okay, it takes you to this. This is their tweet, and then this was I guess a retweet of Michael B, who Michael B is on the ball. I covered him yesterday at XRP Michael B. Very smart guy. Does a lot of good tweets, and he's a very active member. You need to follow him as well. But he says the CEO of BitTrue official Chris Wang, or Curious Wang, confirms future XRapid partnership, and he's taken a snapshot here of a tweet where this guy XRP Freak is replying to BitTrue and says, "Do you have plans to be XRapid partner in the future?" And the CEO says, "We do, 100%." So I mean, this is the CEO of an exchange telling you that they're going to actively use XRP on their platform, and that is good. So moving along, I thought that was very worthy of showing you. Next. If I can delete, I'm going to try to delete these as I go to make sure I'm not, the old computer's not locking up. This was something that Mr. B, at XRP Mr., this is something Mr. B tweeted from Christmas Eve that I forgot to go, no, he tweeted this like 2 days after Christmas, or a day after Christmas, but I think he was talking about over Christmas. He says, had 10 family members and friends at my house for Christmas that I introduced to XRP. 0 of them follow XRP news. 2 sold out, and all of them think it is a failed investment. They all made jokes and took shots at me. I didn't tell them anything. All I could do is sit back and smile. And then he says, knowing, I guess Catal from SBI retweeted this. That's pretty cool. But anyway, I wanted to address this point to Mr. B and to all of you out there that read this or have thought anything about this. This year will be since 2013, I guess, 5th or so Christmas since then. This same thing that he's talking about here has happened to me 4 or 5 times, where one year I'm a hero, the next year, oh man, that was nothing, and you should have sold back then. Same old stuff. This is typical of herd mentality. Everybody, in fact, my own brother the other day said something to the effect of, "When's all this going to go up?" As if somehow it was just never going to happen or whatever. And what I told my brother is what I would tell any of these people. If any of us knew the exact time that what we knew was going to happen, everybody would be rich. And then being rich would not even be fun. And it probably wouldn't even be a thing. And so that whole concept of the way that the herd thinking the opposite of the herd is everything in investing. Everything. Because if you think just like everybody else, then all you're ever going to be is the guy that buys Facebook because CNBC told you to, when Facebook has already gone up thousands of percent over the last few years. And you're going to be the guy that, oh, I'm going to go buy some Facebook, and you may make a couple of bucks, but you're not going to make the real money when you're buying it when everybody else that you know is buying it. That's the fact. That's how it works. So this is good, Mr. B. If your 10 family members and friends are all think that it's over, that's the best thing you can hear, because that means that we now, especially for those of you that have not folded and gotten scared off from all this, those of you that are here now, and those of you at a minimum, even if you're not here now, but you made a decision to stop looking at the prices and put it on your Ledger Nano S and put it away, you will all be the heroes. Because the heroes are never the guys. The heroes are not these guys. The 0 of them that follow XRP news, the 2 that sold out, and all of these that think it's failed. I can promise you, name any huge success, whether it's Bill Gates or Steve Jobs, ask any of those guys how many people laughed at them and told them that they were wasting their time and that that's never going to happen. I'm going to show you a guy that actually Mr. B gave me today that I will use as a great example of that, and we'll talk about that as well. But this, to me, I love it when I read things like this, because the same guys 2 years ago, the guys in my fantasy league were laughing at me. Last year they were telling me what a great pick that XRP was. This year, they're asking me, why didn't you sell last year? And next year, they're going to be calling me a freaking genius. And so I'm fine with all of those emotional. I don't make my decisions based on emotions. And if you do, stop investing, because investing is not for you. If you invest based on emotion and like right now, everybody out there, depressed. We should all, well, here's the thing. Being depressed is fine, but if you didn't invest more than you could afford to, then you don't have anything to be upset about, because you can afford to just sit there and hang in there and put your Ledger Nano S away and just walk away and don't look at prices for a while. And then one fine day you're going to wake up and you're going to be like, oh, I was right. And that's when it's all going to be great. But that's okay. I mean, this is the way it works. Moving along, and I'm gonna hit this topic as we go along again. Moving along. Excuse me. This is something the Binance CEO said a few weeks ago. 2019 will be the year for crypto adoption. I only show you this because I saw an interesting tweet this morning. This is really for informational purposes only. For those of you that don't know, the Binance CEO, Changpeng Zhao, I guess is how you say that, another butchered name on my channel. The Binance CEO, this guy is one of the good guys. I mean, this is the guy that added the XRP trading pairs over Christmas, and I think he did it just to send good tidings to the XRP community, if nothing else. And I think that this guy is a good guy. And so when I read this, he had said, that 2019 would be the year for crypto. Now, this is the same guy. Now think about this. In 1 year's time, this guy created a digital asset exchange and completely obliterated Coinbase in a year. Those guys have been around for 5 years. In 1 year, he was able to pull that off. So this guy is no dummy. But this tweet makes an interesting point that I didn't know. He worked at Bloomberg, where he was the developer of futures trading software. Remember this, when he says 2019 year will be the beginning of mass adoption of crypto, he knows what he's talking about. Crypto is here to stay. And of course it's here to stay. This guy, I went and looked at his LinkedIn feed, and whenever you get time, go check it out. This is no dumb cookie. This guy knows exactly, and he's about as plugged in as anyone in this industry. He knows exactly what's coming. Now, back to this. This keeps popping up. I am blown away by the number of media outlets who have been recycling that stupid, and I do mean stupid, Bloomberg article where they said that Wall Street is just running scared from cryptocurrency. And they used Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley and Citigroup and a couple others as example. They're all just so scared of this crypto bear market, and they're all running for the hills. They don't want to touch Bitcoin and crypto with a 10-foot pole. this guy's towing the line for that same stupid article. Wall Street keeping its distance from cryptocurrency market. Well, it would be one thing if Carlos Terenzi kept it at that, but he doubled down and made it even more dumb. First line, Wall Street firms seem to be retreating from the cryptocurrency market. And then you go and read his article the same way that I read the Bloomberg article, and nowhere in here is there an example of them actually running away from crypto. The only thing that they're doing is they're quietly working behind the scenes to ramp up their crypto, but he doesn't mention that in the article. But what is mentioned in the article is a lot of them doing nothing. In other words, you're not seeing what they're doing. But he doesn't give you any, there's no examples in here of them running for the hills. That's just in the title or in the first line of his thing. But all this guy did is regurgitated the garbage from Bloomberg. Well, let me show you what's really going on. And I'm going to read to you too a couple of things. The first thing, this is first point I want to make is this is Goldman from the financial crisis, from 2008. This article is from 2010. The title here is Goldman made $3.7 billion shorting mortgage securities. And what this is about, I've told you before, Goldman shorted the same mortgage-backed securities that they were selling with a smile on their face to their clients. They were shorting on the other side and making money because they knew that it was garbage and that it was going to fail. Now, they eventually settled with the SEC, which really means nobody goes to jail. You guys just give us $1 billion of the money that you made, and in return, we won't send any of you to jail. That's what that really means. But the point is that Goldman Sachs, these are not people that run from bear markets. These are people that figure out how to profit in bull and bear markets. And so right now, they may be you can write it down that they've figured out a way to profit while we're in a crypto bear market. But more importantly, they are putting in place their markers to make the major profit, which is from the mega bull run that comes with a new asset class. That's what's really going on. And I'm dumbfounded by all these news outlets that are so short-sighted that they would buy into a silly, ridiculous article that like what Bloomberg wrote a few days ago. So, but moving on, let's look at what's been said in the last 3 months. So what we're supposed to believe about Goldman Sachs is that, okay, so we've gone through this bear market for the last year has been so scary that Goldman Sachs is just running for the hills. Well, what they would have to be, back in October, there were multiple articles being written about how Goldman Sachs, here's one of them, about how Goldman Sachs was quietly and covertly getting into crypto. And all of these things were behind the scenes, and it was about how they were working with Bakkt and what they were going to do for safety and risk. They were going to go through Bakkt. Well, all of this was being done. This one's as of October 31st. I've got another article that I'm going to read a good bit of to you from October 16th. Well, what we're supposed to believe from this Bloomberg article and then all these other articles that are being written is we're supposed to believe that Goldman saw, okay, they sat through the bear market all the way to October, the end of October, and then somewhere between November and December, Goldman Sachs and the boys got so scared of this crypto thing, it so freaked them out that now they just said, oh, let's just leave all these hundreds of millions of dollars now remember, they've invested in Circle, they've invested in Bitco, those are just two, and we're talking millions of dollars. Somewhere in October, around October 31st, which is the last article I saw talking about Goldman Sachs coming in, we're supposed to believe that they said, wait a minute, we've spent these hundreds of millions of dollars in investing in these companies and getting ready to start investing in cryptocurrencies with our clients, but now we're just too scared. So let's put all this on the shelf. This is just too scary. Please, people, please, please, please. Do not listen to this garbage. Okay, I'm going to show you just one thing from this little article. This is Goldman Sachs is quietly, why are they doing it quietly? They're quietly enrolling clients for its Bitcoin trading product. And then down here, I just wanted to read you, and this is also, it features Jamie Dimon. Despite Jamie's disdain for cryptocurrencies, JP Morgan, the bank at which he is CEO, is fielding requests for clients for ways to access digital currencies. Goldman Sachs, one of the largest investment banks in the world, has covertly? What do you mean covertly? Why do you have to do it covertly? I know why you have to do it covertly. You don't want to signal to the markets that Goldman's really coming in or that JP Morgan's really coming in. You want to signal to the markets that they're running for the hills, because with that signal, the market goes down and you have time to be ready for what you know is coming. But they're covertly starting to sign up a limited number of customers for its upcoming Bitcoin trading product. Now, I want to read from it. This is where you really get down to the nitty gritty. This video is going to be a little longer than most of my videos, sorry, but it's worth it. This is an article from October 16th. Now, I'm reading this. This is from the Abacus Journal, which many people have questioned before. Well, I'm going to tell you right here, right now, I sent a note to the people at the Abacus Journal one time, and I said, you know, a lot of people are questioning your, quote, sources and whether you actually have sources, because it was in reference to a Morgan Stanley article. Now, I'm not telling you that I know for 1,000% sure, but I am going to tell you that within 2 minutes, the guy from Abacus Journal had emailed me a picture of a Morgan Stanley business card of someone that he supposedly interviewed. Okay, he didn't show me the name, but I'll go that far with it. So my point is that there are people at Morgan Stanley that they're supposedly talking to. And so this one is about Goldman Sachs. Exclusive. Goldman Sachs and backed. Goldman won't go it alone with crypto custody product. Will rely on backed infrastructure. Much has been made out of the on-again, off-again Goldman Sachs crypto initiatives. First, it was a trading desk for crypto, and Goldman Sachs clients, their institutional clients, family offices, hedge funds. Then the narrative turned away from a dedicated trading desk to custody services that would hold Bitcoin for clients. And on both fronts, Goldman Sachs wouldn't confirm or deny that they were discussing or the timing of it in any way of it. The way it sounds today, there was a reason why they haven't confirmed any reports. Goldman was aware of multiple institutional offerings that were on the way and evaluating who they'd choose to use as the backbone of their digital asset offerings. It looks like it will be backed, and that the evaluation was easy and the decision made swiftly. Speaking to several sources at the investment bank, and the scale of backed infrastructure was the deciding factor. A quick note about the decision making and what this all could look like, say 2 years from now. All the pipes, levers, and factories that are being constructed to process billions of crypto trades per day will eventually all work together. Backed, Fidelity, NASDAQ, ErisX, all of them will eventually clear trades from a place like Goldman Sachs on a daily basis. These firms are just providing access and regulatory insurance via custody and some warehousing services. Goldman choosing to work with Bakkt is a nice headline today, but may be irrelevant by late 2019. Goldman Sachs trusts what Bakkt has built and already processes hundreds of millions, if not billions, of dollars of trades via ICE exchanges across all different commodity products each day. So the understanding of how the exchanges work, how they will function, and the architecture's strength is not in question. Rather than seeing Bakkt as a new product and exchange, Goldman sees it as an extension of the NICE, Euronext, or any other exchange brand under ICE umbrella. There is zero concern that Bakkt would run afoul of regulators or suffer any of the daily drama associated with current crypto exchanges like BitMEX, Bitfinex, or others. In fact, Goldman reps actively advise clients to stay away from those exchanges for regulatory and anti-money laundering reasons. Goldman Sachs would rather clients tap into off-book OTC crypto network spread across large parts of the US, Asia, and Eastern Europe. Bakkt's architecture will allow Goldman Sachs to replace that narrative with a stable exchange narrative and remove the elevated risks they associate with digital assets. Again, this isn't some sort of watershed moment for Goldman Sachs or Bakkt. This is simply Goldman using the pipes that Bakkt has laid on top of an exchange network that is decades old, and Goldman Sachs uses every second of every day the markets are open. Still, Goldman trusts Bakkt in a way that is different from what Fidelity is offering at the moment. If there's anything significant here, it is that factor, trust. Trust in Bakkt's leadership team. Trust in Jeff Sprecher and Kelly Loeffler. Trust in the process by which Bakkt went about planning and building its custody and warehouse facilities. And trust that Bakkt will execute in a way that satisfies and standards that exist at Goldman and that its clients expect. So there you have it, people. That's what's really going on. And so anyway, moving along, I wanted to make sure you understood that. And I want to make one final point with regard to that. You're hearing all this, oh, nothing's going to happen until regulations. Nothing's going to happen until regulations. Well, as we mentioned earlier, maybe yesterday or the day before, Japan has just gotten its regulations kind of in place from the way I read that article. Well, look what happens the second that they've got those regulations in place. They announced that 190 companies seek to enter the Japanese cryptocurrency market, and I would bet that it's more like 1,000. This is the same thing that is happening worldwide and is going to happen in the US, China, and India when they finally get their acts together. But this is what's really coming. This. Okay, moving along. I wanted to mention 2 or 3 more things. Sorry about the long video, but this was one I felt like I needed to do. This is from XRP Schleppdog, at XRP Schleppdog. I think it's her. Follow her. She does a lot of stuff in Twitter as far as XRP as well. Over 70% of respondents say XRP will see the biggest return in 2019 survey. Of course they do. Let's look at the survey. 2018 was brutal. 2019 will make all that hell worth it as long as you accumulated the right coins tokens, which will see the biggest return in 2019. Of course, XRP. Go figure. And finally, I want to leave this with all of you. I may put this guy's name in the title. I love this so much. Mr. B at XRP Misters. Give him a follow on Twitter. He sent me this last night, I believe. Apple's little-known third co-founder, Ronald Wayne, sold his 10% stake for $800. Don't be a Ronald. And this guy right here, he was the third founder of Apple. Do you know what that $800 that he got would be worth now? Well, let's look. $100 billion. $100 billion. That is unbelievable. And I'm not telling you that you're going to make $100 billion on XRP, by the way. What I'm telling you is, well, I'm telling you what he says. Don't be a Ronald. I'm the digital asset investor. Oh, whoa, I can't stop yet. Hold on. Whoa. I was going to do one other thing. I wanted to read something to you. This was sent to me from Gary from Australia. I want to give a shout out to Gary. And we are going into the football in the United States anyway. We're going into the football playoffs. And we'll have the playoffs, I think, tomorrow, and then the national championship will be next week in college football. And so he gave a little football analogy write-up that he did about the way he sees XRP and Ripple. And I thought that it was a good write-up and worthy of reading to you guys, and I thought that he had some pretty good insight here, so I'm going to read it. He says, so what I see is that it's getting all quite tribal. It's like a football game with 100 teams on the field, and there are a few giants on the field, some real big guys that stand out, and all the crowds are rooting for one of their favorite players. They're all shouting out. This, to me, is all the same behavior of fans in a football stadium. Now the guys are taking bets, are all standing around like a pack ready to take your money. You could get behind one of the little players and put some money on him, and he may take off down the field with his ball, and you make a great profit. You may even take more profit than XRP. That is if you get lucky. If the timing is right and he takes a real good run. Well, XRP is like the biggest, fastest guy on the field. He really stands out. He is the one who will bring the game home, and Bitcoin is like the really big, slow old guy. I'm trying to read this and keep up with it. He's so big and so slow, he is shriveling up. And even when the Lightning Network comes in running to his aid, throws him some plays, he will still have the same old problems. XRP is like the fighting falcon. It has the speed, the bombs, and the radar, and the support. Full game superiority. Yes, sure, you can make more profit on other coins, and you could get behind their favorite coin and wave the flag. And there are some great stories out there. Still, XRP is the most likely profit, and it's huge because this shiny player is in another class, and he's the one getting paid the $1 million salary. It's the wealthy fans in the corporate boxes, the CEOs, the leaders with the quiet smile on their face, who are backing him and buying up fast. And through the XRP community, XRP is the one with the diehard cheerleader pack because we are right. We are right on the money. I'm looking forward to 2019 and 2020. I thought that was a pretty good write-up from Gary from Australia. I'm a digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe. Hit the like button and tell your friends and family that Gary from Australia is looking forward to 2019 and 2020. Thanks for listening.